My name is Amy. Standing here in the courthouse, surrounded by the hushed tension and the weight of what's about to unfold, I'm transported back to that fateful Thanksgiving dinner. It was then that everything I thought I knew about my family shattered into a million pieces. I grew up in a small town, in a family where my sister Lily was the golden child. My parents, Robert and Linda, were doting but had a clear favorite. Lily, just 2 years older than me, was the center of their universe from the moment she was born. Meanwhile, I was the quiet one, the responsible one who learned to make my own way. I worked hard through high school, juggling part-time jobs at the local bookstore and a diner on weekends. I managed to get a partial scholarship to the state university, but still had to work throughout college to cover my expenses. In contrast, Lily attended an expensive art school, changing her major multiple times and eventually dropping out. My parents never hesitated to fund her every whim, saying she was artistic and free-spirited. After college, I built a successful career as a marketing analyst at a well-known firm. I saved diligently and bought a small apartment. Lily, on the other hand, had a string of failed business ventures. There was the handmade jewelry store that closed after 6 months, and the event planning startup that never got off the ground. Each time, my parents would dip into their savings to support her. A couple of years ago, Lily got married to Tom, a salesman. It seemed like things were finally stabilizing for her. But then, 6 months before that Thanksgiving, she called me in tears. They'd found their dream home, but couldn't afford the down payment. The sellers were about to accept another offer. "Amy, we're so close. We just need a little help," she sobbed. My boyfriend, David, was skeptical. "Make sure you get it in writing. Family loans can be a disaster," he warned. I took his advice and insisted on a formal loan agreement. We met at my lawyer friend, Sarah's office, and drafted a contract for $80,000. The terms were clear. Repayment would start in 3 months and be completed within 6 months. Lily promised they'd use their year and bonuses to pay me back. At first, Lily called regularly with updates on the house. But as time went on, the calls became fewer. By the 4th month, she was always too busy to meet. When I texted about the upcoming payment, her responses were vague. As the 6-month mark approached, there was no sign of repayment. Her social media was filled with pictures of new furniture and vacations, while my calls went straight to voicemail. Then came the Thanksgiving invitation from my mother. She was gushing about how well Lily and Tom had decorated the new house. I accepted with mixed feelings. I knew this was a chance to confront Lily about the loan, but I also dreaded the confrontation at a family gathering. The night before Thanksgiving, David held me as I vented. "I just don't understand how she can ignore this debt," I said. "It's not a favor, it's her obligation." David suggested she might tell me the next day, but his tone lacked conviction. Thanksgiving Day arrived. David and I drove to my parents' house. Lily's new car was already in the driveway. As we entered, the smell of roasting turkey and my mother's special stuffing filled the air. The house was decorated beautifully, as always. In the living room, Lily was showing off pictures of the house on her tablet. Tom sat beside her, looking smug. They greeted us with false enthusiasm. For the next half hour, we made small talk about the weather and my parents' garden. Not once did Lily mention the loan. When it was time for dinner, my father raised his glass for a toast. He praised my mother's cooking and then turned to Lily and Tom. "I'm so proud of you both for buying this amazing house. It's a real achievement." He then gave me a cursory nod and said, "Amy, you're doing well at work, too." That's when I snapped. "That's interesting, considering I lent her the entire down payment she promised to pay back 6 months ago," I said, my voice cutting through the festive atmosphere. The silence that followed was deafening. Forks froze in mid-air. My mother's smile faded, and my father's face turned red. Lily was the first to recover. "Amy, why would you bring this up now?" "It's Thanksgiving," she said, her voice full of indignation. I was furious. "When should I bring it up? You've ignored my calls and texts for months." I started to pour out all my frustrations. My father tried to calm me down, saying it wasn't the right time or place. My mother said Lily was going to tell me after dinner. Lily then claimed that the closing costs and moving expenses had been more than expected. Tom chimed in, saying they needed more time to repay. I reminded them of the contract we'd signed. My mother was shocked that I'd made Lily sign a contract. It was $80,000, Mom. I can't just give that away, I said. Lily then started to cry and said I'd given her the money as a gift. Gave? We signed a legal document, I retorted. Tom tried to say it was a misunderstanding and that it was more of a flexible gift. My parents then started to take Lily's side. They said she was just starting out and I should be more flexible. I was incredulous. She's 32, Mom, and I worked hard for that money. I can't just let it go. I pulled out the loan agreement from my purse and placed it on the table. Were you ever planning to repay this? I asked quietly. Lily and Tom exchanged a look, and then Lily said, "We were hoping you'd see how happy we are and consider it a gift between sisters." The truth hit me like a punch. You never intended to pay me back, I said, my voice shaking. My father tried to scold me, saying family was more important than money. I challenged him to name one time Lily had been there for me. My mother then said I was too independent and never needed the kind of support Lily did. So, because I'm responsible, I have to bankroll her lifestyle? I asked. David, who had been silent until then, said, "I think we should go." I stood up and said, "Either Lily honors our agreement, or I'll take legal action." On the drive home, I was in tears. How could she do this to me? I asked David. He said it was a pattern that had been going on for a long time. After that, I decided I wouldn't let it go. I met with Sarah again. She said the contract was clear and I had a strong case. She also pointed out that something about the house purchase didn't add up. The house was in a high-end neighborhood, and if they needed $80,000 for a 15% down payment, the math didn't work. I started to investigate. I found out that the house had sold for $900,000, which meant they needed $135,000 for a 15% down payment. They'd clearly lied about the amount they needed. I also reached out to other family members. My cousin, Emily, told me that Lily had asked her for a $15,000 loan last year for a business opportunity and never mentioned it again after Emily declined. My uncle, Mike, revealed that he'd lent Lily $20,000 for medical expenses that were never explained. But the most shocking discovery came when I talked to my grandmother, Martha. She mentioned that my grandfather's inheritance had been divided equally between me and Lily when it matured last year. "I thought you used your share to invest," she said. I was stunned. "Grandma, I never received any inheritance." It turned out that my parents had given my share to Lily. I was devastated. This wasn't just about the loan anymore. It was about a long-standing pattern of deception. I decided to pursue legal action. Sarah filed a lawsuit for breach of contract, seeking the full $80,000 plus interest and legal fees. As expected, my family tried to pressure me into dropping the case. My mother left tearful voicemails, and my father sent angry texts. But I was determined. I knew that standing up for myself was the only way to break the cycle of dysfunction in my family. And as I stand here in the courthouse, waiting for the judge's decision, I'm reminded that true family is built on respect, honesty, and mutual support, not on exploitation and lies.